Superman, he sure is a thing. A big muscle man with a ton of powers and over 75 years worth of world saving behind him. He's a monster of a cultural icon and has gotten his famous chess piece symbol plastered on all manner of merchandise across the years, as well as numerous TV shows and films to boot. Yet, he's not perfect, despite what the die-hard fans and even the comics would have you believe. In fact, he's got a ton of flaws which detractors seem to overlook. So today I'm going to be donning the outside undies and setting the record straight. Some facts may annoy those who love him, but may end up swaying those who harbour hate for the hero of Metropolis. With this in mind, I'm Jules for WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 things everyone always gets wrong about Superman. Number 10. He's overpowered. Now, truth be told, he does have a lot of powers. Superhuman strength and speed, heat vision, freeze breath, and some weird form of time reversal. But he's not as overpowered as you might first think. For one, his abilities have actually been scaled back a lot since the Silver Age, and for another, he's actually got a ton of weaknesses. Everyone knows about kryptonite, but did you know about the different forms of kryptonite and their effects on him? Red, blue, gold, and even periwinkle versions of the weird rock are able to change Superman's abilities. And that's to say nothing about the effects of magic and energy-based weapons, which he has little defense against. Basically what I'm saying is, yes, he's got a lot of cool powers and can take a pretty hefty punch, but his rogues gallery is more than capable of knocking him down a few pegs with their alien or high-tech weaponry. Number 9. He's unrelatable. One of the big critiques leveled at Superman is that as he lives the high life with his godlike powers, beautiful love interests, and a fun job, that he's completely unrelatable to the everyman and woman who reads his stories. Yet, while it may appear that everything is peachy keen for the superest of men, in a 1985 piece called For the Man Who Has Everything, it showed that while he has all of these things, Kal feels completely isolated on Earth, and the only thing that he dreams of is having a regular life on Krypton with a family of his own. And you know what? A feeling of isolation in a crowd and the concept of pretending to be normal in your day-to-day is much more common and relatable than you might first think. Number 8. He can't be written as dark. One of the most common complaints among critics for the Man of Steel film was that it was too dark of a Superman. But Zack Snyder pointed out, though, that these people weren't Superman fans, they were Christopher Reeve fans. The Reeves films painted Superman as a light-hearted goody two-shoes, but in the comics, he's already shown a much darker side. In several Batman arcs, he's shown hatred and violence towards his fellow superheroes, and in his own lines, he's tackled depression and regret in equal measure. In the story, Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, Superman has to fight against a huge roster of rogues as they finally piece together his identity. The story itself is rife with dark moments and is a great glimpse behind the armor that his super strength provides. So while he might be portrayed as being sweeter than a caramel marshmallow covered in diabetes, he's actually got a fair few rough edges if you look closely. Number 7. He doesn't kill. Yes, he does. He's done it a fair few times. There seems to be an unwritten rule that Superman shall not kill, but across the Golden Age and even in the New 52 arc, he's blown up fighter planes, weapons facilities with workers still inside, heat vision Dr. Light's head clean off, and even killed Zod and company with kryptonite. So all those times that people cry out in anger that Zod met his end in Man of Steel, it's actually just another body to the pile. What is implied is that he chooses not to kill because he'd rather people not fear him and not see him as a weapon. But it's definitely not the case that he doesn't do it because he can't. Because I mean, he's nearly as strong as half a Simon Miller, which makes it very easy to do. Number 6. He's as smart as a normal human. In the age-old question of who would win between Superman and Batman, people always say Batman would always be able to outsmart that lughead. This assumption that Superman is about as smart as a regular human is a little off, as not only does he manage to outsmart people like the Flash and Doomsday, but he's built large amounts of tech in his time. From robots to Kryptonian machines, Superman is much smarter than we give him credit, and it's only through TV shows and films that show his supporting cast to be the information hubs that we even thought so to begin with. Whether he's smarter than Batman, though, is still up for debate. Number 5. Lois Lane is his only love interest. Lois is a supremely interesting character in that not only is she one of the most well-known supporting female protagonists to exist, but is also one of the strongest. But you know what? She's not the only love in Superman's life. We've got Lana Lang from Smallville, Laurie Lamaris, a mermaid, Cat Grant and her mad tits, and Wonder Woman all have fallen for Kal's country boy charm. So yeah, he gets about. Number 4, he's Jesus. Okay, so despite what Zack Snyder's movie shots would suggest, Superman is not Jesus. I really don't have much more to say about it other than he's just not. He's an alien. And before you say it, Kal-El does not mean son of God. It means voice of God, which isn't Jesus. It's religious for sure, but it's not Jesus. Oh, and he was created by 2 Jewish people, so probably definitely not going to be on the Jesus front of the religious side. Number 3, he's all-American. Despite being viewed by many to be symbolic of the American dream, you know, the thing that shows an immigrant rising to the top, he's not really a member of America, or even Earth for that matter. Yet because of his upbringing, everyone just assumes that he's American. There was even a story in Action Comics number 900 where Superman renounced his American citizenship since he was angry over his actions being labeled as US foreign policy. Of course, this caused a lot of controversy and was immediately retconned by DC to being a standalone story. But you have to ask yourself, was it wrong for Americans to get upset over this? I'm not really sure, so let me know in the comments section below. Number 2, he's got the power to solve all of the world's problems. When you've got the Flash's speed, Wonder Woman's strength, and some brains to boot, many often question why Superman doesn't just solve the vast number of problems plaguing the globe. From crime to poverty to world hunger, it seems like you could create a utopia quite easily within the span of a decade using Superman's supers. Arguments against this would point out that it would pretty much ruin the comic book industry, but jokes aside, there are legitimate reasons as to why he's unable to do just that, and they involve both political and societal problems. Crime isn't something you can just gun down or beat back with just blunt physical force. Killing all the gangs in a neighborhood only creates a more hostile atmosphere of anger and fear. Jailing all the bad guys only leads to newbies taking up the mantle. In fact, this was actually addressed at the beginning of No Man's Land, where Superman tries to help Batman restore Gotham to safety after an earthquake leaves the city in chaos, but they both realize that this is just a problem that superpowers just aren't able to resolve. And number 1, he hides with just a pair of glasses. Here lies one of Superman's oldest problems. How is he able to hide his identity with just a pair of glasses? I mean, I'd recognize Peter or Ben if they slapped on a pair of specs, so it's bizarre to think that anyone with half a brain wouldn't immediately go, "Hey, aren't you that bird plane man thing?" Well, it turns out that he does a lot more than actually just wear some bifocals. The glasses actually change his eye color, and then he speaks with a lower voice and even stoops a little to appear smaller. Now, I know that this still doesn't add up fully until you ask yourself this: why would Superman want to hide? It makes no sense when you've got the power of a god and the public approval much higher than any prime minister or president. In the pre-New 52 universe, Lex Luthor even revealed in 2002 that he had known Superman was Kent for some time, but refused to believe it on the grounds that he couldn't accept that Superman would degrade himself like this. So the next time that you hear somebody saying it's stupid, tell them to have a good long think about how they'd act in this situation. Well, to be honest, I'd burn the world down to the ground and laugh all the way, but hey ho, I'm not Superman. And that's our list. Got any Superman facts that everyone always gets wrong? Well, let me know about them in the comments section below. And why not swing by whatculture.com for more news and articles like this every goddamn day. As always, I've been Jules, you've been awesome, and I'll speak to you soon.